Hello, I am Liam Ashcroft, aka the This Is Saturn guy, and today I'm going to be talking about not the Saturn, but instead the Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast is a console that I have a mixed relationship with. I feel that technically it's not as good as it should be, but at the same time it's got some great games on it and easily I recommend picking one up. Recently I was able to pick up the Dream Explorer boot disc for the Dreamcast. This lets you explore VMU files and do general nice stuff with the Dreamcast interface and such. But one thing that I really liked about it was it comes preloaded with some of the save files for various Dreamcast games. It's got all of the Dreamcast games on it, but in particular, with the Sonic Adventure games, it had the files for the downloadable content that was made available when the internet capabilities of the Dreamcast were still in effect. As such, as part of the ongoing 23rd anniversary of Sonic celebrations going on here at SEGABits, I'm going to be looking at the downloadable content made available for Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. The first piece of DLC we'll be looking at is the celebratory Year 2K DLC for Sonic Adventure 1. In this DLC, Station Square, the main hub of the game, is decorated with various posters with messages saying "Support Sonic in Year 2K" and "Sonic runs through Year 2K." When you run up and touch the posters. Also of note is the giant ring that appears with the word 2000 in it. Of note is that this ring also appears in action stages such as Emerald Coast, and touching it reveals a secret little Easter egg. It begins playing Palm Tree Panic Present from Sonic the Hedgehog CD on the Mega CD. The soundtrack in particular is taken from the Japanese version of the game, and in turn the European version of the game as opposed to the US version of the game. It actually fits quite well into Emerald Coast, and it was a very nice touch to see. That aside, there's not much to the DLC. It's basically just a quick texture hack and stuff. There's nothing massive about it besides the music change. Next on our list is the various Dreamcast Launch Day DLCs. There were various different kinds of this DLC for each region, though it was released, and there was a Japanese DLC, an American DLC, and an European DLC. To my knowledge, the respective DLCs for each region only work on that version of the game, so you can't use the American launch DLC on an EU Dreamcast, which is what I have. So here I'm showing you the EU launch party with the blue swirls everywhere. Basically, this is very similar to the Year 2K DLC, where it just adds posters and stuff with special messages like, please support Sonic Team and stuff. There's more of these posters than there are with the Year 2K DLC. That are dotted around the casino district of Station Square and stuff. But that aside, it's just a hub change with the balloons and everything. The action stages don't change, to my knowledge. I've not seen any difference in Emerald Coast, at least, which is the one I go to test out all the time. So, to my knowledge, this is just a hub change, nothing major. The next piece of DLC affects both Station Square and the Twinkle Park action stage. Once you drop into Station Square with the DLC active, you'll notice there are now special posters dotted around like with the Year 2K and Dreamcast launch DLCs. However, these ones are proclaiming Happy Halloween and such, and some of them also tell you to go to Twinkle Park for a special surprise. What is that special surprise? Why, there's a Halloween party in Twinkle Park. The place has been kitted out with Halloween posters and a couple of jack-o'-lanterns walking around. At its core, it's just a basic little texture hack, but it's still quite a charming little thing to see with all the extra stuff they've added to celebrate Halloween. And all in all, while it's just there, really, it's just not like it's doing any harm, so it's a nice little DLC. The next piece of DLC adds Christmas to Sonic Adventure by literally adding a Christmas tree. That is all it does, it just adds a Christmas tree. No Christmas posters, none of that, it's just literally a giant Christmas tree. There are two in Station Square, and touching either of them plays the acapella of Dream Dreams from Christmas Nights on the Sega Saturn. Well, okay then. To be honest, it's not entirely unprecedented, because Sonic Team obviously did make Nights as well as Sonic, but still, it seems a bit odd, especially that it's the a cappella version, though, again, it came from Christmas Night, so I suppose it does make some sense. Anyway, it's a nice little song, and I can't really get mad at it for being a small DLC, because at least it's something. And it's also cool to see Sega acknowledge Nights.
And I hope you're looking for someone I can hear you in my dreams. I can hear you calling.
This station must be the center of the city.
Sonic Adventure 2 also got a fair bit of DLC, however most of this DLC was just for the kart racing mode, and the rest of it was for the two-player mode, besides some extra themes which I'll go into later. Anyway, let's kick it off with all the kart racing DLC, or at least the stuff that I was able to get my hands on. The first piece of DLC is entitled Egg Robo, and as the name suggests, it allows you to play as Egg Robo from Sonic 3 and Knuckles in kart racing mode, complete with a new track in the shape of an E, apparently anyway, that plays the song Eggman, the theme of, well, take a guess, over it instead of the normal kart racing theme. I actually mentioned this in my Sonic R episode of This Is Saturn, and mentioned that Egg Robo's model is ripped directly from that game, which I said was a bit weird. Upon further inspection, I was actually wrong. His model is not taken from Sonic R, but it's merely a slightly updated version of it. Still, it's a nifty touch, and it's nice to see them hark back to Sonic 3 and Knuckles again. Although, one thing I will say is that the stage is absolutely terrible and clearly not built for a kart racing game, because it's amazingly hard, and I just really don't like it. I mean, the kart racing in Sonic Adventure 2 was already widely panned as it is, and this just ramps up the difficulty to ridiculous levels. The next piece of DLC hits a little bit closer to home for us at SEGABits, as it's the Fantasy Zone DLC. This gives you a new kart to play as, controlled by Omachow. And what is this kart called? Opa Opa. For those unaware, in which case, why? Opa Opa is the character from Sega's Fantasy Zone arcade game, and was later ported to systems such as the Master System and whatnot. Opa Opa is quite a well-known Sega character now, as he appeared in not only Sega All-Stars Racing, the first game, he's also in our logo. Anyway, Opa Opa's a nice character, and this is a very nice reference to Sega's roots. The track is much better than the Egg Robo course, and I had a blast with this DLC. I'm in the camp that actually likes the kart racing in Sonic Adventure 2, so definitely recommend it if you can get your hands on it. The next piece of DLC is relatively low-key. It's the different themes that you could get for the menus in the game. Usually there's just this single narrator who guides you through all the menus in the game, like stage select and stuff. However, with these pieces of DLC, you can change who says all of this stuff, so you can have like Tails saying it, as I'll show in a minute, or for some reason you can have the President's Secretary say it instead. Okay then, in the GameCube version, all of these themes were unlocked from the start, with the exception of the President's Secretary, which you had to get through a code, and a couple of minor characters like Amy Rose and stuff, which I had to get through the Chow Garden for some reason. Anyway, the DLC's not much really, it's just a minor little thing, but it's a nice touch, and it's cool to have like Tails guide you through all the menus and stuff, each with their own little personality quirks.
What stage are we going to play? Kart racing, my favorite. Select the story. Customize your settings here.
The final piece of DLC we're looking at are the Christmas and Halloween themes for multiplayer mode. Now, by completing every mission as Sonic or Shadow and etc., you can unlock different costumes for the characters in the Versus mode. For Sonic and Shadow, they were based off Phantasy Star, for example. These pieces of DLC add more of those costumes, but they have a Halloween and Christmas theme. So, like, Sonic gets a pumpkin mask for the Halloween theme and a Santa jacket for the Christmas theme, for example. It's only something minor, it only affects the two-player mode, but it's still something nice, and once again, like the Twinkle Park DLC, it's nice to see them just have a nod to the holiday. And so there you have it, that's all the DLC I was able to get my hands on. I said that's not all of it. There were a few Famitsu contests, where you had to find pictures of hedgehogs and stuff, and there was also a Reebok contest. For those not in the know, Reebok's a shoe company. In the DLC, you just had to find shoes in Emerald Coast in the fastest time possible. Also available, but only for the US release, were AT&T contests, which were speedrun challenges. The winner actually did win a AT&T subscription or something. I can't remember the specifics. Anyway, point is, all in all, it was cool to see Sega embrace this new aspect of technology with the internet capabilities of the Dreamcast, and even better to see them offer all of this for completely free of charge. Certainly, if you can get your hands on this DLC, some of it better than others, obviously, like the Opa Opa Go-Kart DLC, but I'd recommend just trying it out for the novelty of it and the fact that it's just something cool to add something to these games. That's all, folks. I am Liam Ashcroft, and I'll see you on the next episode of This Is Saturn.